Everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Swapnil Pote and you are watching Night 2.5. In this tough COVID situation, as we all know, a super tournament of Norway chess is going on, where world champion Magnus Carlsen, the local boy Aryan Tari, Levon Aronian, Jan Christoph Duda, and a very young talent Ali Reza Firuza is facing off. We all were waiting for the famous match between Magnus Carlsen and Ali Reza, as there is a controversy between them, which is for the World Rapid and Blitz Championship, where Ali Reza was in full winning situation and his flag fell down and he lost. So this was a very crucial encounter for both of them, and in classic match they drew. So as the rule in Norway chess tournament is little bit different, it applies like if you win you get full 3 points, and if you lose there is absolutely nil, and if you draw the game goes on Armageddon, and it is fight for the half point. So it was the fight for half point. Magnus is with the white pieces, he will get 10 minutes, and Ali Reza is with 3 3 minutes less, that is 7 minutes, and he will get the draws, means he's black. So if he wins draw, then also he will win. So what happened, the game continued with queen's pawn opening d4. He replied knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, d5, c into d5, e into d5, bishop g5, and c6, e3, s6, bishop h4, bishop e7, queen c2, and castle. This is very standard opening, and as white plays the first move, he has a slight advantage, but we can't forget that even if black draws, he gets the full point. So Magnus played knight f3, rook e8, bishop d3, knight e4. As we can see, this knight is a strong piece here, and also the bishop is attacking this bishop. So first of all Magnus will like to exchange this bishop, and then he will try to solve the problem of this knight. So Magnus took the bishop on e7, queen into e7, and then bishop into e4. So now Ali Reza has two options of taking with the queen and with the pawn. Ali Reza choose the pawn option, as it provides the control over two important square, which is d3 and f3, and also get a tempo on knight. So Magnus has to move his knight d2, f5, controlling the center more and expanding on the king side. And I want to stop you here, because Magnus played here a very surprising move, not a best one, but you can feel, yeah, like he has to win. He is the world champion. It is an Armageddon match. So what Magnus had played? Please comment down if you have found. Magnus played long castle, and this was very shocking as it is a very risky line, and also I think it favors black, yeah, because black has advantage as he can attack with this three pawns. It will be simply pawn push battle if you have to attack king, or otherwise the piece activity will matter, because these two pawns I think somehow blockade these four pieces, and therefore we can see that activity of black is quite nice to the activity of white. Knight d7, g4, breaking that pawn chain of f4 and e5. So Ali Reza took with f into g4, knight into e4, knight b6. And if you see this position, I feel like black is completely fine, and even there is an advantage for him, as he can play bishop e6, rook to f8, and attack this pawn on f2. And this pawn looks weak, so Magnus can lose this pawn. Let's see what happens. Knight g3, bishop e6, king b1. This is very common idea. Like white players feel in long castle that their king on b1 is slight safe than the king on c1. So rook f8 and e4. So Magnus is trying to control this key square in central. So rook a d8, rook he1, and f6, queen f6. And now this pawn is feeling the heat of this queen and rook battery, which is slight dangerous for white. This queen and rook are targeting toward this pawn. So Magnus played here the very risky move, that is f4, allowing the upper saw, and there will be a pawn extra for black simply. So g into f3, and now Magnus tried to create the blockade on f2 by queen f2, then knight c4. I think this part was very well played by Ali Reza. The continuation of moves was very nice. As regardless the time was less, we can see the time there is 4 minutes for each side. Rook g1 and queen h4, b3, knight d6, king b2, rook f7, rook d2, rook f8, rook df8, rook e1, king h8, rook d3, and rook f4, e5, knight to f4, knight to knight to f5, and knight to e4, bishop to d5, and he took with the rook into f3. And I think here Ali Reza had his chance to win against Magnus. There is very nice line that you can take with the rook into rook, queen into rook f3. This can be played. He didn't play queen into h2. He can block the check with rook e2, and you can just simply take this line, and it is a clear advantage because if you take with the king, I will take with the knight, and when you take with the knight into g3, you can see I have superior piece, yeah, because knight to bishop in endgame is bishop is very powerful. Also the bishop is centralized. It like controls this very crucial squares, yeah. And also if you can see, Ali Reza has this passes, yeah, and also one pawn is extra, we can forget that. And also we have to remember that Ali Reza just needs to draw this game. So this didn't happen obviously because time was less and it was hard to calculate. He took with knight into g3, pawn takes g3, rook into f3. He played this move but the timing was incorrect. So now queen into f3, queen rook into f3, and pawn takes queen h4. And this was very good move, I think. Bishop into e4, knight e4, because you exchange pieces, you just need a draw. This position is absolutely equal, and you can just simply take a draw and win this match. So rook takes e4, king g1, king 8 a3, king f2, king f7, king b4, h5, a4, king e6. So Ali Reza is simply trying to centralize his king. He brought his king all the way from h8 to like g8, then f7, then e6. So he's following the endgame rules. Yeah, is if a5, rook g3, a6. Ali Reza has the chance to take, but he didn't take, and it was very nice move. b6, king c4, and rook to g4. And Magnus played this wrong move, king d4. And I would like you all to pause this video and find the move for black, as black is completely winning in this position. And if I think you have paused the video, you have found the solution, and the solution is pawn to c5. It just simply break this pawn, and like then this pawn becomes weak. You have extra passer here, and you are completely winning. But Ali Reza missed this, and he, as we can see that there is just 10 seconds, he can't calculate. Yeah, so he give rook g3 check, and we all know Magnus is the god of endgame or king of endgame. He will not lose his chance if he is given. He played very accurate after this. Rook to e3, rook to g4, rook f3. Now he played rook pawn to c5, but it is incorrect timing. But still the position is equal, and Ali Reza just needs a draw. Yeah, so pawn takes c c5, b into c5, rook to f8, king into e6, rook to f7, and here where the flag fell down, Ali Reza lost again with the flag down. So again this position is equal. You can simply like take on h4. He can take on a7, and this position is equal because you can now give like rook d4 check. And this position is simply equal, and Ali Reza could have won because of the draws, but his flag fell down. There is issue with his time in this board control and all. So we will see in future like Ali Reza beating other players also. And we hope you like this video. And if you like this video, please do like, share, and subscribe. I am signing off. Thank you.